When I speak to tutors and tutoring companies, one of the biggest fallacies that I see is that I will get more students if I lower my prices. That is the biggest lie that I used to tell myself when running my tutoring business. And for a long time, I was reducing my price expecting to see more students come in, but the opposite actually happened. And I'm going to explain why in this video. First, we're going to start with why people think that this is actually the case, where if they decrease the price of their product, they get more people actually interested in it. And it's because a lot of people study economics and they understand the theory behind a demand curve. So a demand curve is a downwards facing slope. And essentially it suggests that at a certain price, you're going to have a certain quantity of people that want your good. And as you decrease price, you'll have a higher quantity of people wanting your good. So for example, if you charge something for $50, you might get one customer, but if you charge something for $30, you might get two customers, for example. So that's the idea behind a demand curve. But I'm going to counter this demand theory because it's just a theory. It's just in an ideal market. That's a really critical thing to think about when considering this idea that decreasing the price increases the quantity of people coming in. It's an ideal theory that only works if you have a perfect marketplace, and no marketplace is perfect. Essentially, what happens in the real world is when we charge things at a certain price, there's a psychology and emotion behind the purchasing of a product. So we commonly see this when it comes to premium pricing for luxury goods. For example, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. These things are priced extraordinarily more than other competitors in the market. But people, of course, still buy Gucci and Louis Vuitton because they have that brand associated with them. But the only reason why they have that brand is because of the premium pricing in the first place. So people actually have it the other way around. People think that they charge higher prices because of the brand. But the matter of fact is that they actually have a better brand because of the premium pricing. Now, the main reason for this is because when you have a higher price associated with a certain item, such as a handbag, people associate that with better quality. And better quality, of course, builds up the brand, and the price also and the prestige of it builds up the brand as well. Now, there's a specific concept for this. If you want to Google it, it's called premium pricing, or there's a specific term for it. I think it's called Veblen Good, Veblen. It's essentially just the name of the concept behind this premium pricing idea. But we should have exactly the same thing when it comes to our service. Don't undercut your competitors, charge more than them. Now, this is all presuming that you have just as good product and hopefully better than your competitors. But when you charge more than them, people will start to think, oh, why does this person charge more? And there'll be a premium feel about your product, but you actually have to follow through with that premium feel with an actual quality product. So just keep that in mind. If you price high, then of course you have to deliver high as well, but it avoids some problems, which I'm going to talk about in the next part of this video. Now, just a quick story time. I used to charge $25 an hour for my service and included one call per week plus access to a group class. Sounds like pretty good quality for a year 12 tutoring service. But when I was charging $25 per week for this all-round service, what happened with people is they question what they're actually getting out of the $25. Maybe a bit unconsciously, they're second guessing if it's actually good quality, and they're also guessing, and they're kind of unsure about the actual quality of it as well. But what you notice is that you're getting a customer base that has a mindset that tutoring is valued at $25. So they start kind of going through with a fine-tooth comb and kind of seeing everything that you offer, and they're trying to unpack and figure out everything that you do, which is quite time-consuming in the sales process. And it's something that we want to be avoiding because it's something where we don't necessarily have the time to be able to break all of these individual things down to every single lead. It should be done in a way that is very self-explanatory. It's something that you pay for what you get, and there's no exceptions to the rule. It's just kind of a blanket thing. This is what I offer. This is my price for it. And that's it. Now, this, in my experience, came from people who are quite picky customers. But when I increased my prices to a significantly higher rate, it meant that a lot of the people that were very picky about the item stuck in that demographic or stuck in the price range of around 25 to 30, let's say. And I moved up to a next price range where people are more concerned with just the outcome of the product rather than the individual details and the individual things that they get. So when you start charging more for your service, people just assume that all of those things are going to come with it, and they're more concerned with testimonials, they're more concerned with your experience, they're more concerned with you being the right person to help them or their son or their daughter achieve the help that they actually need to succeed in whatever subject you're trying to help them with. And again, just to reiterate, when you have premium pricing, people will assume that everything, and it should be, this is the case, it's not an assumption, it's not a false assumption, this should be the case, everything in your service is exactly where it should be, and it's just a matter of if you're the right fit for the student, rather than the stuff in the product being correct and being aligned with what they need. They'll assume that you already know what you're talking about. And if you're watching this video, if you're a tutor, you shouldn't know what you're actually talking about, and you should be confident in your product and how you've structured everything. It's just a matter of the individual student connecting with you and you having an understanding of their emotional needs as well. Now, premium pricing has a second benefit. It's the fact that when you go through the sales process, most of the time, it's going to be the same sales process regardless of if it's $25 per week versus $100 per week. If anything, the $100 per week, as mentioned previously, would be a lot more of a smoother process. But even if the amount of time commitment was exactly the same, we want to be charging higher because each lead will be worth more. Each potential lead will be worth a higher lifetime value if you're charging 4 times the amount. So if you're going from $25 per week and you transition to $100 per week, then you're going to be spending, and if you have the exact same conversion rate, you're going to be spending 4 times less time if you're converting 4 times more valuable clients. That's something to think about as well, because the time commitment to actually bring in leads, a lot of tutors and a lot of tutoring businesses don't account for this when they're understanding like their profit and loss. When you're calculating your profit and loss and when you're ultimately working out the amount of money that you're making per hour or per unit time that you spend with your business, the lead management process will probably be a big portion of your time if you haven't done it properly. And it'll be even more time if you haven't priced your product in a premium way. So that's what I help my tutors and my tutoring business clients with as well. It's understanding that and making their process for marketing and for leads as productive as possible. And the productivity of the product will just come naturally through their expertise, through my tutor's expertise. So that's something that we need to consider as well when developing a new plan for your business, is that the marketing and the leads process is quite a time-consuming process, and we want to make it as efficient as possible to make sure that there's not a lot of sunk costs of time just absorbed through nothing and absorbed into sales calls and into lead management that doesn't get us anywhere. Or if it does get us somewhere, then we want it to be in a place where we're actually making a lot of money per student coming in. Now, of course, without the proper marketing techniques, the proper sales techniques, and the product, premium pricing is all just myth and it doesn't really work. So if you want to figure out all of the steps to actually market your business from the start, from the initial marketing phase, all the way to the sales end and the product end, I've made a full video breakdown on YouTube. I'll link it in the bio where you literally watch me break down a business from scratch, a tutoring business from scratch, and you can literally copy and paste exactly what I did. So the link is in the bio. Feel free to watch that video now.